So, burnout. This is inspired by Texas Paul on Blue Sky, who this morning, well, it's this morning for me, so 5 hours ago, so yes, this morning, says, I've never experienced this before, so tired I can't keep my eyes open, but can't seal the deal and make it to actual sleep. So tired, I had to stop multiple times while typing this to clear my vision, but I cannot sleep. What the fuck? And my immediate reaction was stress. That was my response, stress. And then I thought more about it and thought the other term that we don't often use is burnout. I think we relate burnout to something that happens to us when we're working. You know, we're working, we work too hard, we're overwhelmed, it becomes too much, something happens and we get burnt out. But it's also important to recognise that we can get burnt out when we're not working in other parts of our lives. I now and again get burnt out, not in the way I might have done when I was working. I got burnt out a couple of times at least when I was working all those years ago, and didn't actually know what the term for it was, didn't even know that I was stressed, couldn't have described it at that point as stress. It was just like, oh my God, this is going on. I don't know what's going on. I'm not coping. It's all too difficult. I can't cope. But retrospectively, I realised that it was stress, and it also is very similar to burnout. So I was thinking about all of you who live over there in the US, who are living through this nightmare, who are not able to get away from it. And you might not be working, you might be in your home, you can't get away from it. And it will be causing you to have certain physical responses and emotional responses. And it's a bit like chicken and egg, which comes first. But I imagine that the physical responses will be pushing the emotional responses. So thinking about physical responses to stress, the first one that comes to mind for all of us is flight or fright. Is it flight or fright? Fight or flight or fright. So you suddenly faced with this scare, massive scare, and your body starts to get ready to run or to fight. And your body then has adrenaline running through it. And of course, adrenaline in high doses is going to keep you awake, and it's going to keep you stressed and keep you shaky and all of those things, because there's all this adrenaline running around. Now, what's happening for you over there is that there's not much opportunity for that to dissipate or to go away, because the last, what is it? It's the 25th today. So for the last, my maths doesn't work, 35 days. You haven't had a chance to sit back and go, oh, thank God that's over. Because it isn't over, and it's been relentless, and it has been piling it on you day after day after day after day. So your body is now immersed in adrenaline, and it's going to have all manner of effects on you. And I was thinking about, so you all get the burnout. Not all of you, some of you may not, some of you might be resistant to that, which is great. Now I'm in charge of the fire, so I've just got to go and sort that out a minute. Yeah, some of you might be lucky in that you're resistant to that and you're not having any symptoms like that, or you're having different symptoms or different things are happening for you. But a lot of you will be dealing with the symptoms of burnout. And I was thinking about, if you're dealing with the symptoms of burnout, what's happening for the people that are causing that for you, because they're relentless. What they've been doing is relentless. They haven't stopped. You know, Trump and Musk are tweeting or truth socialing during the night. I don't think they're getting much sleep. And it's constant. And my thoughts are, and a lot of people talk about this, is that they're both on drugs. So they're taking drugs. So they will be taking various drugs that keep them awake, help them sleep, calm them down, or do whatever they do. They're getting lots of drugs. And eventually those drugs are going to have an impact. And we can only hope that's next week. So during this process, you're all firefighting. So you don't have an opportunity to sit back and relax because another fire starts, and you're firefighting, and you get no chance to be proactive. And you can't stop the fire. You're not being given that opportunity. You can't stop the fire. And I was thinking of the things that I have in my toolbox that we could all have in our toolboxes to help us in this present situation. And they're not going to be the be all and end all, but they're important things that you could possibly put in place to help support you through this. Now, one of the things that I have, and I was just doing earlier, which I am not meant to do it when I do it, we have a siesta, and I quite often will use my TM, which is Transcendental Meditation, my mantra, to help me drift off, because it's to help me just focus on the word rather than everything else. It doesn't always work for me because I do drift off. My mind's always going here, there, and everywhere, but quite often I'll use it. And the thing about Transcendental Meditation, which I learned back in 1982, against all odds, because it was with my mother also going, and we were having awful rows at the time. I don't know how I did it, but against all odds, I learned TM. And one of the things in TM is that when you're meditating, it slows down your breathing. And I am able very quickly to go from eyes closed, mantra, slow down breathing. It's just normal for me. And if I do it when I'm laying in bed at night, it upsets my CPAP machine because I've slowed my breathing down, and the CPAP machine doesn't like that. So it starts pumping air at me. So having that in my arsenal is a really good thing, if only I used it, and I don't use it enough. And if I used it on a daily basis or twice a day, I can't remember how many times we're advised to use it. If I used it on a daily basis or twice a day, it would provide me with a bit of a support, a constant support, rather than, oh shit, I'm stressed, I'll meditate. But actually, building up a bit of a resistance by having it there, that you do it normally. The other thing I used to do before I was with Mark, which is 20 million years ago now, when I lived on my own, is I would listen to, when going to bed at night, I love listening to the rain, as you know. I like listening to storms, and I would listen to tapes, cassette tapes they were back then, of storms. And I had to turn it right down because there was a couple of the tracks on it where there was a really massive loud bang of thunder, which wasn't helpful when you're trying to go to sleep. So I'd go to sleep listening to the rain, or listening to the weather, or listening to, I think I also had a bird, it was forest sounds, or rainforest sounds, which was quite relaxing. So having some sort of form of relaxation tape, disc, or whatever it is that you use nowadays to play next to you when you're going to sleep may be helpful. Now, I don't do that now because I don't want to be in here and be not aware of what's going on with my partner. But if that doesn't bother you, then you can do it. Or if you're on your own, you can do it. So that might be another way of helping you to switch off slightly. Very difficult for you, I know, but I'm just thinking about what I have in my arsenal. So I just I'm going to check something, because I bought up a page called, which I'll put a link in, called Burnout, and it was a Burnout Report 2025 from the UK, and I'm just going to have a look at some more symptoms. I'll read the symptoms to you. Feeling tired or exhausted most of the time, recurring insomnia and sleep disturbances, frequent headaches, muscle or joint pain, gastrointestinal problems such as feeling sick or loss of appetite, frequent illness due to lowered immunity, high blood pressure, and issues breathing. I was thinking back to when I had burnout, and the first time I had it was before Mark and I were together, and it was 1990 something, and I wasn't able to work. I couldn't work my brain. It wouldn't work. My brain feels like it's filled with glue. So I feel like when I'm trying to think that I'm wading through quicksand. My organisational skills go to pot. If I remember going into a supermarket with Phil, he'd come back to live with me, and I remember going into a supermarket with him. I'd come home from a weekend therapy session, and it had obviously taken me back into a place that wasn't my adult, and I came back and we'd got 2 kittens, and he made me a coffee, and then the kittens ran around and knocked over my coffee, and I said to him, I can't clear that up and I need more coffee. And then I said to him, he made me more coffee. He's very good, Phil, made me more coffee, and then it was like, we haven't got anything for a meal and we need to go shopping, but I need you to come with me because I can't think. I need you to come round with me and think with me. So that's a very clear thing for me about what happens when you get overwhelmed, and I get overwhelmed. So this has happened to me a few times. It happened to me last week in response to an altercation I had with someone, and not on here, in my real life, and it was very unpleasant. But it took me only an hour or two to recognise what had happened and why I was struggling. And as soon as I was able to put 2 and 2 together, it went, because I'd recognised it rather than thought, what the fuck's going on? So Mark and I were in Leclerc in Chauvigny, where we were heading off to in a bit to pick up the shopping, and I just couldn't think, and I had to have him with me to find stuff I knew that we needed. But I can't. There's this thing I do when I go into shops, and I do it in the supermarket a lot, is I scan, and I can scan the shelf really quickly for what I'm looking for, and my scanning disappears when I'm overwhelmed and burnt out. I cannot scan, and it's so frustrating because I'm a really organised person, and to become disorganised is very frustrating for me. So that was a list of the physical symptoms. Emotional symptoms. See if I can do this without switching you off. Emotional symptoms. Feeling helpless, trapped, or defeated. Self-doubt, feeling of failure or worthlessness. Feeling detached or alone in the world. Feeling overwhelmed. Feeling demotivated, having a cynical, negative outlook, lacking sense of satisfaction or achievement, loss of interest and enjoyment, persistent feelings of dread, worry, and anxiety. And then behavioural symptoms: procrastinating, taking longer to complete things. Oh God, I have to be so careful because this just decides to switch off. Difficulty concentrating, decreased output and productivity, becoming isolated and withdrawing from people and responsibilities, reliant on food, drugs, or alcohol to cope. Well, we all know about comfort eating and, comfort drinking. I'm not really a drinker, but comfort drinking, and I don't take drugs, but irritable and short-tempered, likely to have outbursts and take frustrations out on others, increased tardiness, being late for work, and or high absenteeism. Oh, excuse me. So I'm going to put a link for this in the description. And for those of you that never find what I've done, if you could close your YouTube window down to the smaller window, you can see the description underneath and all the comments. That's how you see those. So yeah, I just thought I would talk about that, because that is what's happening for you, and it's not happening for me. It is a little bit, but I'm not in it. I'm not living your life. I feel very lucky, very, very lucky to be over here. Really relieved that Germany, the results of the German election were not, as had been worrying me. AFD didn't, they came second, so that's not very good, but much better than them coming first. Be grateful for small mercies, as my mother would say. Don't know why I repeat what she says. So yeah, that's a relief for me. I think Macron did a really good job when he went over. I don't know whether he's come back now. I think he's doing a really good job. He somehow, I think it's very clever, but I think somehow he manages to manage Trump. And I've often said that, and I've said it about him back in 2016. He manages Trump, and Trump believes that Macron likes him. He lets Trump believe that. I haven't checked with Emmanuel Macron, but I'm sure he doesn't like him. But he does it in such a way that Trump thinks he likes him. And I'd be absolutely stunned if Trump said anything negative about him, because I think actually Trump isn't frightened of him, but doesn't want to upset him. And I find that fascinating. Anyway, I hope that's been helpful, and know that I support you. And if there's anything I can help you with, or anything that you want a bit more info on, you can email me at kathysflog@yahoo.com. So have a good day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the subscribers. I lost 5 subscribers with my political rant the other day. Good thing I'm not bothering about that. Yeah, so have a good day and see you next time. Bye.